got a feeling that I cannot explain. You want something different, but I don't want to change.
Hi everyone. I know YouTube is flooded with a lot of iPad Air videos and everyone is trying to make a different video and say something different about a tablet, but there are only certain things that they can say, right? I mean, one will like Samsung over iPad or vice versa, or there is a fight between iPad Air or S7 versus S7 Plus. It is so confusing out there, so I finally decided not to do iPad Air review. I've used all of them now, so I will categorize them by the price, by the storage, and will tell you which tablet is good for whom. So I'll try to cover professionals, students, and casual media user. I'll start with iPad Air because this is the latest device, and if you want a review of this device, just watch my iPad Pro review and just remove 3 major things that you're going to notice every day: high refresh rate, quad speakers, and Face ID, and I'll come to that in a minute. Apart from that, that extra 100 nits brightness, that multi-core GPU and multi-core CPU, extra 2GB of RAM, and studio quality mics are not important for everyone. I mean, if you do a lot of video calls without external microphones, maybe. Hi everyone, so I'm testing the microphone of iPad Air, just let me know how they sound. I think the mic quality on iPad Pro is much better. Hi everyone, now I'm testing the microphone on iPad Pro, and I think iPad Air microphones are not bad at all. But otherwise, if you're indoors, that extra brightness does not matter and they're basically the same display. Also, I think you shouldn't worry about A12Z or A14. There's nothing one can do and another can't. I mean, there's nothing on iOS right now that can utilize that much power. It's basically asking for two fastest cars to compete in a street full of red lights on, in our country, speed bumps. Unless you do all your work on iPad like video editing, raw photo editing, or use Procreate, they're both going to give you similar performance in day-to-day use. But if you still want to see that little difference between both of them, you can check my initial impression video. If you are a casual user or just a student who want to take notes, you shouldn't worry about the latency. You cannot figure out the latency while writing. I asked my partner to use both of iPads and ask her, can you tell me the difference? She couldn't. Air is as good as Pro in all of that. I'm not saying latency is not there, but if you haven't used 120Hz refresh rate, it's very hard to tell. But if you are an artist, I will highly recommend that high refresh rate display because that latency might bother you there. Now let's talk about those 3 things which I miss every day. So I switched off my iPad Pro and I'm using iPad Air as my primary tablet now. So I try to do everything on this tablet. So first thing I miss is Face ID. I'm not saying Touch ID is bad, it's great, and especially in these conditions, like every other YouTuber is saying. But you have to think how many times you're going to use your iPad outside or travel in these conditions, and you have to think about that these situations will go away eventually. I still think the implementation of a fingerprint is better on Tab S7 as compared to iPad Air, because on iPad Air, even if it's unlocked early, you have to click the button, also you have to rest your finger on it. If you're using a magic keyboard, that's also a problem because in my iPad Pro, I just need to press any button twice and it's unlocked because it's recognizing my face. On iPad Air, I have to rest the finger on the fingerprint, otherwise I have to tap one button to unlock it. So in my opinion, Face ID is more convenient, but not as important. Second thing I immediately notice is high refresh rate display, and it is very important to me because I am used to high refresh rate display. And if any person says that there's no difference between 60Hz and 120Hz, they haven't used 120Hz on a tablet. I'm not talking about mobile because the experience is different on mobile and tablets. I can easily switch from 120Hz to 60Hz on a mobile, and I actually did. But every time I use iPad Air, I feel it's choppy and I can see every frame. But the illusion of high refresh rate display will make iPad Pro faster, even though iPad Air is faster in single core. So does that high refresh rate justify the cost? No, not alone, but if you add all of the things together, and one more thing that is very important to me, and that is quad speaker, I think it justifies the price. No matter how good the stereo speakers are there on iPad Air, but there's no match with iPad Pro, and even Tab S7 speakers are much better than iPad Air. Just listen to this. I'm okay with loudness, but the bass and fullness is missing. So all of these combined, I think iPad Pro is definitely better than iPad Air, but these features are not important for a casual user or a student. My only issue with iPad Air, it's its base storage. It's 64 GB, and if you think it might be enough for right now, but in my opinion, it's not going to be enough in future, especially if you play games or use professional app on your iPad. I understand that the price is an issue for a lot of people, and you want to use that high refresh rate and better speakers and face unlock. I think that's where Tab S7 comes in the picture. It's a great value for money tablet, and I already made a video between Tab S7 and iPad Pro, so I think you should check that out for the better understanding between these two platforms. There are certain things where I think Tab S7 is better than iPad Air. High refresh rate display, quad speaker, double the storage, and the free pen inside the box. You get more free apps on Play Store as compared to Apple Store, and also you get the option of face unlock and fingerprint both. It's a great tablet for media consumption and note taking, but if you want to use more professional app or you're planning to use a keyboard and mouse with it, I think iPad is a better way to go. iPad has a major advantage over Android, and that is iPad OS, and you're going to get a better software support in upcoming years. Don't worry, I will tell you which tablet is better for whom, but let me cover that Tab S7 Plus as well. So both iPad Pro and Tab S7 have bigger brothers, but I would recommend students to stay away from them just for bigger screen. I don't think they're worth spending extra money. For me, Tab S7 Plus is just a better media device. If you want to purchase a tablet just because of that Super AMOLED, I will still suggest go buy Tab S6 and save some money. But otherwise, Tab S7 can do everything that Tab S7 Plus can do. So let's break down these tablets in the size and price category. So I will start with the bigger and expensive one. If you're planning to go for 12.9-inch iPad Pro, I think you can hold off for a while, because next year is pending for refresh and there are changes that going to be on the bigger screen, especially on display. What about Tab S7 Plus? I think it's still the best media device that you can buy right now. So if you want a tablet just for media consumption and you don't care about money, you can go for Tab S7 Plus. I know there are going to be a lot of comments that Samsung is better than Apple or Android is better than iPad OS. It's not. I'm telling you from a personal experience. Android is great for mobile, free apps and flexibility. But when it comes to tablet, they're still growing. I'm not going to start about DeX because I already made a video on it, so I would suggest go check that out before making your decision. By the way, if you're liking this video so far, I'd appreciate you subscribing to my channel. Now let's talk about the iPad Pro 2020. I would recommend that device if you want to do your productive work, you want to use a Magic Keyboard with it, you want to do professional work, and if you are not on a tight budget. For me, it's the best tech I ever purchased so far, and I love using it more than any other device. But if you're on tight budget and compromise on storage, I think you should go and look for iPad Pro 2018. It's almost identical to iPad Pro, but over iPad Air you will get high refresh rate display, quad speakers and Face ID. If you can't find one, I will definitely recommend iPad Air, especially for students. You don't have to spend extra on iPad Pro. It's an amazing device and a great value for money right now. But use your storage wisely. And if you are one of those people who have only budget for iPad Air but cannot spend on Apple Pencil, you can also purchase alternative for Apple Pencil. There are a lot of them and they are good for note taking. But if you don't care about platform as much and you just want a media device and that can take notes as well, I would definitely recommend Tab S7 over iPad Air because you get high refresh rate display, double the storage, blah blah. I told everything about it. Just don't buy the keyboard for the full price. I know you'll be thinking about what about iPad 8th generation. I will not recommend that tablet mainly because of two reasons. One, there's no USB-C and you cannot charge your pencil wirelessly. But if you are on a very tight budget and you just want to go for iPad OS, I think iPad 8th generation is a good option as well because it's very powerful. I hope I was able to help you guys. If I have to pick two of my favorites, I will choose iPad Pro and Tab S7. Tab S7 because it's the best value for money tablet right now, and iPad Pro is the best tablet you can purchase right now. iPad Air is my best pick when it comes to students. I think it's the best alternative for iPad Pro. And people who bought a tablet already and just roaming around watching another videos, stop worrying about it. You have the best tablet right now and I can work on any of them. If you find this video informative, please share this video with other people as well. And if you want to see content my style, please subscribe to my channel. My name is Rohit. I'll see you in the next one. Till then,